Good evening and welcome. It's TERF Talk Tuesday. Let me tell you about my exciting day today. So my good colleague Olivia has just gone home and I'm doing this for you. So hi, I'm just going to make sure you know the numbers. So if you're in the United Kingdom or anywhere in the world, really, you can call me on 0800 0584. I'm going to put it in the description. 0584204. If you're in the United States, the free phone number for you is 0877 729 1771. That's 0877 729 1771. Yeah. Hi, how are you? I've had an interesting day. Anyway, Olivia and I are working late, and I am yet again banned from Facebook. I think I might have said something along the lines of, I might have even shared a violent threat against me. And I've been banned from Facebook for the violent threat, which is terribly ironic all the time, isn't it just? So anyway, if you want to call me, that's how you do it. I think I found a way to stop people interrupting. So I'm going to put these numbers in the chat so you can ring. Anyway, I've just been having a little bit of a set to via Olivia's Facebook. And right, so here's the number in the chat as well. 0584 204 for the UK, and USA is 0877 729 1771. Okay, so do call. Anyway, so Billy Bragg shared this half clip cutting. I think it's from Instagram. Now, I'm just going to say it for those that are hard of hearing, and I'm going to make it really, 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 really clear to you, each and every one of you. I think the significant threat and what is happening to children across the world in the name of trans activism, mutilating kids, eradicating their fertility, sterilizing their bodies, I would literally sell my soul to the devil himself if it meant that this would stop immediately. I will talk to anyone. I will even work alongside pretty much anyone, although I don't work alongside anyone, and I mean not even on our side. I don't generally work with anybody. What you see is predominantly what I do on my own. So I'm just going to tell you now, I have absolutely no hesitation in working with, taking money from, or selling my soul to anyone if it means we can totally stamp out this evil, vile ideology. Hello, good evening. You are through to me, Kellie-Jay. You don't have to say who you are. I don't even know if I got you. Did I get you? No, I didn't get you. What is going on? Right, let me try again. I don't know what is going on. I think someone was ringing and then it went weird. I've done all manner of things. So if you're trying to call me, you might have to do that again. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try and do better. I've run through this. I'm not feeling that great. So that might be why I'm doing really... Oh, going to voicemail. Is it all going to voicemail? Right, try again. Try again. I don't even think I've got a missed call. Have I? 8th of July. No. Missed calls. Oh, maybe. It's so annoying. No, I'm available. Right. If you were calling from Newcastle, please call again. And I promise I'll pick up. I don't know what I'm doing. Come on, ring someone. Anyway, so Billy Bragg shares this clip, this cutting, and it's a cropped comment. It's been going around, and it sort of says that I basically say it might well be, and I think this might have been before the election, Trump and Biden. And I said it might well be that abortion rights are up for grabs, and it might be an either or. I'm going to answer this call. Good evening. I hope I've got you. You can say who you are. You don't have to, but hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, I'm available.
I can hear myself. How are you? I know we're a little bit ahead, so you probably didn't expect to get through quite so quickly, but how can I help? What do you want to say?
This is really weird because I'm watching you and you are several things behind.
I know, sorry about that.
My name's Snork Maiden. You might know me from Twitter. Several people might do. I just resigned from the NHS today. I don't know how I'm going to make any money or what I'm going to do, but it just got too bad and I just can't do it anymore. I just can't do the wokeness. I just can't do the rainbow lanyards. And I've worked for the NHS for 20 years, so that's just me.
Oh my God, that's immense. What was was there a final straw moment, or was it just, you just physically just couldn't go in?
There was a final straw moment, but I can't really talk about it because I've been in touch with my union and I am going to challenge it. But for anyone thinking the NHS is on side, they're really not. So it's just a warning to everybody, really, just please be careful. Please be careful. If you go to the NHS for help, they are really walked out. And not sure what to say about that, really. I just wanted to let everybody know that for some of us in the NHS, we are really, really trying to support women and hold the line. It's difficult to do so. You may well lose your job. I jumped before I was pushed, so that's kind of it, really.
And so the false data ruling is something that everybody is talking about, and what an incredible victory for Maya. Do you feel that that at all can apply to you and help you in any way?
It can if I can take it to court. It can if I can get anyone to challenge it legally. But the difficulty is that these legal rulings, they only go, like, it only works if you can take it to court or if you can challenge it. Right. And a lot of the time, the NHS now is still like holding really hard on to the Stonewall thing. So, yeah.
I'm so sorry. And did you, prior to this wokeness, so let me just ask then, when did you notice the wokeness? When did it begin to creep? Because I remember sitting on a school bus doing a school trip with one of my kids, and I was sat next to a woman who was running community nursing, and she was just about to have to put, kind of in her own words, but not really, the whole new wokeness. So trans women are women and all that stuff was like way back in 2015. Was it noticeable back then for you, or is it just really ramped up real quick?
No, not really. I mean, I'm a lesbian and I've been kind of tuned into this for ages. And like my first introduction to this was in about, I don't know, maybe 2013, 2014.
Right.
There was a woman called Big Boo Butch that was posting about this, and she was absolutely shocked that people were saying that no part of a woman's body, no part of a man's body could be said to be not lesbian. So I was aware of this for a long time, but I've only noticed it creeping into the NHS recently, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would say where I live and work, and I'm not going to give that away, I would say only in the last 5 or 6 years.
Right, okay.
But the rainbow lanyards have crept in, the pronouns have crept in, there's pressure now to put that in. You say the wrong thing and you are not forgiven. So, yeah, there's all of that.
I'm so sorry, and thank you for your hard work for 2 decades that now has been totally crapped on by Stonewall and the NHS. So I'm really, really sorry. If there's anything we can do to help here at Standing for Women, do let us know. And obviously, if you join your local Standing for Women group, then there might be something that they can do to organise. So if you contact us local at Standing for Women, maybe there's some other local women that can talk to your MP, talk to your healthcare trust. I don't know, but I'm really sorry.
Oh, no, I'll be just fine. I can fight for myself. I have been doing for all my life. I'll be great. Thank you. And thank you for all you do for women.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Cheers.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, God, isn't that awful? We're basically now losing decent, hardworking people from the NHS. And I'm sure that I'm going to mispronounce the Snog Maiden, but I'm sure she isn't the only one. That Snork Maiden, thank you so much. I'm sure she isn't the only person that has totally had enough and can face this absolute shower of crap. No more from the NHS. So your number is 0800 0584 204. If you're calling from the US, it's a free phone number 0877 7291 771. I am here to take calls to make sure that you can have your say. And it gets me off the hook because I'm feeling pretty bad. Anyway, Billy Bragg shared this bit that I talk about, where I sort of say that we may have to lose the right to the federal right to abortion in the United States of America in order to continue to eradicate what's happening to children and women's rights. And this was on the basis of Trump, Biden. That's where that all came about. And what is interesting is that left-wing feminists and why have I got another missed call then? I'm not grabbing these calls. I'm so sorry. If you've just called, please call me again and I will pick up. It's a really, I don't know what's happening. I'm trying my level best. Let me see. I think I may have just stopped my, I don't know how it's not working, but you know, I try. I might call you back. Good evening. This is Kellie-Jay. You can say who you are. You don't have to, but what's your comment? What would you like to say?
Good evening. My name is Jasmine, and thank you. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for all the work that you have been putting in and fighting for our children, for their health and well-being.
You're welcome.
First of all, really, I could sympathize with the nurse that called previously. I'm a qualified early years educator. I've left it now because I work in schools, nurseries, and work with, the early years. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that really upset me was the whole diversity thing, was that we can encourage young boys to wear dresses, and and I personally don't agree with that. I think children should be left alone to get on and be free. And I left because I had enough, because I'm thinking, what about the parents? I wouldn't feel comfortable with my children being encouraged, especially my boys. I've got 2 boys. I wouldn't really be comfortable with someone encouraging them to wear a dress or whatever the case may be. I wouldn't do that. Went into school one morning, and little boy, they encouraged him to put like a little skirt on or whatever, to dress up. And they were all cheering, yeah, and calling the child's name out. And I felt really, really terrible, because I'm thinking, how is this boy's father actually probably, I'm sure, how's the parent feeling? How would the parents feel if they knew this was actually happening?
I mean, one of my sons, so I've got 3 boys and I've got a daughter. And so then I've got, my youngest is a boy. So when his sister dressed up, and my niece, who's also female, when they dressed up, he would sometimes dress up. Now that wasn't, and he might actually wear girls, a girl sparkly dress because it's a wonderful thing. But I think if I found out that, and it didn't bother me at all, it was, it didn't bother me. But if I found out he was going to a school where kind of not against his will, but that was being sort of force fed, I think I would have a totally different attitude. I think a child-led play is absolutely one thing. Being celebrated more so. So if a girl put on a dress and that was just a nothing, and a boy put on a dress and that was somehow celebrated, I would not be comfortable with that. Do you think schools are going against parents on purpose for a reason, or do you think that they're just misguided? What do you think the motivation is?
Well, part of it, to be honest, while I was studying, because while you're studying, this is a subject that actually comes up in your actual work, okay, while you're studying. And I was really surprised that they would ask you, it's part of the diversity subject. So part of that is, okay, if a boy want to wear a skirt, doesn't, whatnot, let them get on with it. Like you said, if it's children playing on their own and it's not adult-led, it's two different things, really, isn't it? Right? Because children, of course, boys will see a girl's dress and say, oh, yes, they think they want to try on, or whatever the case may be, but it doesn't mean they want to be a girl.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, when adults are encouraging, my worry is, are you confusing the child?
Yes.
A lot of it comes on the diversity. So, you've got to be diverse. I understand that. However, I think there's a thin line, and I think people just go along because no one wants to say how they feel because of this PC, because they're worried that they will get labeled, so people just keep quiet and they go along with it. But when I speak to people separately, individually, and I get their take on it, a lot of them don't even approve of it.
It's just I think it's so frightening, the fact that not just the crazy people who are pushing for it, but the amount of decent people that are silent. I think that's a really sinister thing. Do you think there's enough older people, like fully fledged adults in the teaching profession, that can maybe get it back on track, or do you think it's a bit of a lost cause?
It's a lost cause, because what I've noticed is you have people that are working with children who should not be working with children. A lot of them are very tired and underpaid. The schools are no longer giving contracts that they used to give out. The whole, you can see that they're fed up. They are fed up because the schools are now run more like a corporate, like a corporation, more than a place of education.
Yeah, I remember my kids went to a Catholic primary school, and the teacher there, she wasn't corporate at all. Every time there was an assembly where a child did something great, she wept because she was so proud of the kids and she loved them deeply. And unfortunately, there's fewer and fewer teachers like that still in the profession. But thank you so much for calling.
And thank you so much. By the way, quickly before I leave, have you watched Matt Walsh, What is a Woman?
I have. I've watched the majority of it, yes. My biggest criticism is that Matt Walsh himself is not a woman, and I really would have liked a woman to have made that film, but I'm glad he made it.
Yes, but the other thing is the fact that I wasn't satisfied that no one could actually answer that question correctly.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? Absolutely crazy.
But he done it anyway. He did try, but I was really frustrated that no one really answered that question correctly to my liking anyway. But thank you so much for what you're doing, and I appreciate you so much.
You're very welcome, Jasmine. Thanks for calling. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh gosh, so what have we got? We've got primary, we've got childcare, and we've got the NHS so far, totally woke and captured. No wonder we're in this absolute crazy mess. Anyway, my Billy Bragg story. So we basically, I'm banned from Facebook at the moment. I will have to tell you in a minute. Good evening. You are through to me, Kellie-Jay, at TERF Talk Tuesday. You can say who you are. You don't have to, but you could just make a comment. Hello.
Hi, am I on now?
You are.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Hi, yeah, I was just wondering how you would feel, what you thought about Kenny Badenoch, sorry.
Well, I was actually at an event with her yesterday, and she's two things I want to say, make very clear. Number one, she looks about 20. Number two, she's not much taller than me, which made me like her a lot. And I think, look, I think if we're going to have to have a Conservative government, and let's face it, I don't know who could run the country at the moment. I don't think anybody. I think rather her than most of the other candidates, to be honest. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really complicated because you can see, I mean, I don't know if you saw, there's recently been a video shared in America about, I don't know what it's in relation to, but again, another politician refers to women as birthing bodies. And it's just like, I feel like with her, she just wouldn't allow that. They would just be like, no, this is how it is. Let's stop with pretending that, you know, we're all redefined, and she would be the one who would speak truthfully. Of all the candidates, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've heard her talk on a few issues. In fact, she was at this House of Lords thing that I went to yesterday, all about free speech, and she gave a speech there. She seems really quite engaging, super clever.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a politician she is, but she does, when she speaks, I do believe that she's saying things that she believes. And I think, to be frank, this day and age, I'd take that over almost anything. I'd take somebody I totally disagree with, but believes what they're saying, over someone who says what I need them to say, but doesn't believe a word of it.
Yeah.
And that's where I am with her, I think. Are you a member of the Conservative Party? Do you get a vote?
Absolutely not.
No, me neither.
No.
Oh, well.
I wouldn't consider myself, you know, my values aren't really, we're politically homeless, aren't we?
Yes.
It's just, that's my dog assaulting me in the background. But yeah, I was just interested to see what you thought, because obviously she does seem to be getting a lot of support from gender critical people and women on Twitter. So, you know, it's just interesting to know.
I mean, on the identity politics level, I think the left will absolutely spontaneously combust if there is a Black woman as Prime Minister. I think the left can't even manage to summon a female leader. So I think that would be interesting. But I really don't think that, you know, the merit of her has got absolutely nothing to do with the fact that she's either female or Black. I think the merit is the fact that I do believe what she says. But I think it might be Liz Truss. It might be Liz Truss. She has been wearing Thatcher blue for a number of years now. So it might be her. We'll see. But thank you so much for calling.
No worries. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye. Okay, so that's my view. I went to this free speech thing, and she's funny. She's engaging, right? She's she just seems a little bit of a cut away from everybody else. There's something, I don't know what it is about her. I think she just comes across as like super brilliant, really clever, just very calm, and she's got a really silky smooth voice. I don't know, I think she seems great, but I think it will go to Liz Truss. Hello, good evening. You are through to TERF Talk Tuesdays. You don't have to say who you are. You can just make a comment. It's entirely up to you.
I'm so happy to finally speak to you. I watch you all the time. I just wanted to give you a big shout out. I'm one of your fans. I really appreciate all you do for women. Thank you for standing up for our rights and everything. Thank you for being there for us.
You are
I
very
just wanted to briefly mention how I don't know layman terms like word for word what these things are, but I'm a parent to a 4-year-old who's autistic. And I found out a couple of months ago that they were teaching my son sexual education, and he's only in reception. And they said it's compulsory and he can't be taken out of those classes. They're going to be teaching him that mums are normal, dads and dads are normal. things that I wouldn't teach my son at home, they're going to be teaching them in class. I just wanted to hear your opinion about that particular topic.
Oh, I think this is really tough because I actually don't think, for example, if my 4-year-old was in a class and then a different sort of family started where there were 2 mums, I'd really like that kid, that son of those 2 mothers, not to feel, or the daughter, not to feel at all that his family was different, abnormal, and not very nice. I don't, however, think it's a school's job to go out of their way to talk about sexuality. But I do think it's probably important for them to talk about different family makeup. I just think there's different ways to teach tolerance, and I'm not sure an hour set aside a week to talk about what different families look like. I don't know if that is the way to teach 4-year-olds. I think tolerance is taught through osmosis and school values.
There was another thing they mentioned, though. They said, sorry to interrupt you, they said, a parent asked, it was a big meeting, a parent asked, these discussions you'll be having, older kids will be learning about furthermore information. How are you going to stop this from being spread on the playground? Because you can tell a kid something and the kid doesn't necessarily listen to what you say. The teacher now said to us that we're going to keep, it's our little secret. That's what they're going to tell the kids, that they're not allowed to tell anyone.
Gee.
And I was shocked. I was just like, oh my God, this is how it starts.
What would your reservation be about any child of any age, knowing that some, you know, maybe in adoptive families, that some people do have lesbian or gay parents? Would that be a concern for you?
I think kids are curious anyway. They're bound to ask questions. If a question is asked, then so be it. But for you to indoctrinate little children from a young age into like what you believe, your belief systems and whatnot, I think you have to leave those things at the door and let children be children. I just feel like we're in a day and age, especially with the likes of bloody TikTok, we're in a day and age now where things are being taught from a very, very young age. And that's my worry. I do understand there's different types of families out there. And I'm willing to talk about those things when the opportunity comes, but not a 4-year-old. If they're 2 what they do in this day and age, it's absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe I'm 27. I grew up in this country all my life. I was born here. I just can't believe what they're doing with our kids. It's unbelievable.
It's a really fine, I think the difficulty always when we talk about these issues is it's a really fine line between trying to sort of protect kids and letting them not worry about anything other than going to school. I don't know why they'd need to talk about marriage. I don't know why they'd need to talk about anything to do with relationships, to be quite honest, at age 4. I would think that they've got enough time. They've got just about enough time in the day to talk about what numbers and letters might be and how they formulate words and maths. So in that way, it just does feel like social engineering. But then we skirt really close to the wind of sort of saying that, you know, homosexuality is a sin. But then I also totally agreed with those Muslim parents in Birmingham who didn't want their primary school children talking about any of those things that totally fundamentally went against their values. So I think it's a really difficult line. And I think if schools remember that their place is to educate children, not to socially engineer and teach them moral lessons, but clearly deal with each individual kid as part of a school community. So if there are, you know, if you had a whole school of Catholics and there were one Muslim family, I would definitely expect the school to teach some sort of tolerance through osmosis about that Muslim family and make sure that that Muslim child wasn't treated like, you know, something different in the playground. That's the same way as I feel about different sorts of families, single families, families with parents with disabilities and so on. But yeah, well, thank you for that. That certainly got me thinking.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, I've turned. Oh, that was a bit tricky, wasn't it? It's really difficult because I think I would definitely feel that any sort of teaching about relationships to kids at age 4 is I just don't even know why we're doing it. And I don't care whether those are straight relationships, gay relationships. I don't remember talking about marriage and different sorts of families. I don't expect within the diversity and inclusion, they're talking about how some families, some kids are carers to their disabled parents. I don't expect we are teaching any of those sorts of diversity and inclusion. It's a really tricky one, isn't it? You know, I would definitely like to think, in fact, at my kids' primary school, Catholic primary school, there was a family that was 2 dads. And that was definitely talked about by lots and lots of parents about how those 2 dads were perfectly normal, and everybody learnt a lesson like that. Hello, good evening. This is Kellie-Jay. You can tell me your name. You don't have to, but welcome to TERF Talk Tuesday.
Hello. No, I won't say my name if that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is not what I was ringing about, but yeah, I work in local government, and I agree with the other 2 ladies in the public service that it's just completely captured. It's really demoralizing as well. I mean, on one side, you've got white people are made to feel guilty for the privilege, and non-white people have got to feel oppressed. And then on the other hand, just keep sending out these newsletters and bulletins about well-being and, you know, your mental health and airy-fairy quotes and things. So it's like, well, what do you want us to be? Do you want us to be happy, or do you want us to feel guilty and oppressed? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And how do you feel?
Just makes it, to be honest, it sort of makes you feel a bit messed in the head. I don't know if that's what some of this woke stuff is going for, is just to make people feel confused, that you don't know, for one, you don't know one thing from another, you know what I mean? What you thought was true one day is not the next, type of thing.
Do you feel that you can't speak? So if you got a handout and you totally disagreed with it, and you thought, well, actually, you know, my mental health is being crippled by all of this stuff, do you feel that you could even say that in the place that you work?
No, I mean, I could say it to a couple of colleagues, but not in that way. But, you know, you just sort of say certain things, but I think it's like an age thing. I think the younger ones are the ones that are being pressured into putting the pronouns in the email signatures and things like that, whereas the older ones like me are sort of, we're hanging on in there, but you know, we're going to get aged out. So it's, you know.
What do you feel is driving it? Like when you get these pamphlets and everybody, I don't know what, everybody changes, or everybody, it is another sort of set of words that you're not allowed to say. What do you feel is driving it? What good does it do for whatever profession that you're in? What change, what positive or negative change does it bring?
I mean, it's supposed to be about inclusion, but I noticed the things that they say on the intranet, so the inside intranet that the public don't see, is different to what they tell the general public. You know, it's more radical on the intranet.
Is it really?
Yeah, I suppose people outside have got time to think, well, hang on a minute, that's not in accordance with the Human Rights Act and, you know, your right to privacy and things like that, you know.
Do you suspect at all that it might just be people who are a bit jobs worth, who are just trying to sort of fill a role?
Stonewall have really infiltrated the public sector. The language that's been used, even if it's to do with maybe race, even it's that kind of Stonewall language, and
right.
And everything gets somehow the TQ gets tacked onto anything that we won't even think that it's relevant, but so I think it's to do with Stonewall, really, with being in the diversity champions thing.
God, it's really depressing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And do you think you'll hang on in there? You're not going to do like our first
Yeah,
caller and resign?
I'll hang in there, yeah, for as long as I can. I
All
just,
right.
you know, sort of, I've put a few stickers up at work, and you know, like I said, I mumble to other colleagues every now and again, you know. So, or if something comes up on the news, you know, like the sports type situation, just talking point, little talking points that you can sort of raise, you know, I'll sort of do that.
And
yeah.
do you think then, on that note, do you think it's easier to talk to people maybe about the sport than about all of the other issues? Yeah.
Well, that's what piqued me.
Right.
So I think, because if people had told me like the full thing that was going on, I wouldn't have believed them anyway.
Right.
My husband doesn't believe me. You know, he thinks I'm, you know, I think I'm radicalized or whatever. So, but he does actually agree on the sports. I think you've got to start talking to people about just small things that they can understand, and then, you know, they might, you know, they might sort of be more open to listening to other things at a later time, you know.
Well, thank you so much for calling, and
Best
of luck.
Sorry, Kelly, can I just ask one more thing?
Yes.
The reason I was going to ring up was that my daughter is going to uni in a few months' time. And I think just parents are kind of just worried about the environment in unis, how woke it is, and that, you know, that whether she's going to sort of get even more. I mean, I would say she's got quite woke sort of notions anyway, but she'll get even more sort of carried along with that. So yeah, just some advice really.
Gosh. Well, look, I have 2 boys at university. In fact, one's decided he's not going to go to uni anymore, and I'm relatively pleased about that, just because it's a lot of debt if you're not going to come out with a really well-paid job, isn't it? But my 2 oldest are boys, right? So they're the ones that have gone off to uni. My kids have had this since 2015. So I've known what's been going on for a long time. And I talk to we have quite lively conversations. And I think it's a lot easier for boys to say that they don't believe something, or it's just easier. Boys have much more robust conversations with their friends where they don't need to agree. I think when it comes to girls, especially if they're already persuaded by woke, I think you've just got to continue having the dialogue.
Yeah.
What would my advice be? I think not giving up your language with your kids is really important, remaining the adults in the room. And, you know, I've very much remained an adult with my children. I am the parent. Like my husband and I, we are the parents. There's no collaboration until they're paying their own way in their own house with their own mortgage. We take their, you know, they're fully fledged humans, so they are allowed opinions, but we remain the adults. Beyond that, I just don't know. We kind of lose all capacity for any real control by the time they're about 12 or 13, don't we? And, you know, that's why girls sort of with eating disorders, you fight a losing battle half the time. But I would just, if I were you, I'd remain having adult conversations with adults. Allow your daughter to make some silly mistakes. And I don't know, I wouldn't advise praying because I'm not a Christian, but I would definitely find some sort of source of strength from somewhere. But oh God, and the best of luck.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was not useful. Cheers.
No, it is. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my goodness, that's hard, isn't it? How do we save our kids from this woke crap when they are just totally immersed in it at university? If you have any ideas, do put it in the chat. But I do try and remain an adult with my kids. That's really important. Just from a respect level. I mean, God, they hardly respect you once they're actual on their way to being grown-ups. Okay, I've got time for another call. So the number is, if you're in the UK, 0800 058 4204, or it is, where did I put the other number? USA, you can free phone me 08777 291 771. That is a free phone number. Fraggle Mum says daughter wants to dye her hair and tattoo age 13. Let me tell you a little bit more about Billy Bragg. Anyway, I've invited Billy Bragg to share this thing where it sort of talks about me, and it's a lie. And oh, Rebecca Lynn, you're right. You instill values that are not malleable. Yes, you do. That is good. Absolutely. Yeah, so I've invited Billy Bragg, and I would implore him to consider it, but I've invited Billy Bragg to come and talk to me anytime, and he can defend his ridiculous position. Hello, good evening. You are through to Kellie-Jay. This is TERF Talk Tuesday. You can say who you are. You don't have to. Hello, good evening.
Oh, hello, Kelly. It's
Hello.
Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. I just thought I'd bring to your attention some trouble I've been having recently.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Breeze cycle champion. It's a British cycling initiative that's set up to encourage women to ride bicycles.
Right. Congratulations.
And I've been doing this fine for 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, we had a discussion in our Facebook group about trans women joining our rides. And I just said that the reason that some women aren't happy with trans women joining their rides is because they don't feel they are proper women.
Mm-hmm.
And I got quite a lot of abuse for my opinions. And also, what was really frustrating, they shut down the conversation. They turned off commenting. I was there to support another woman who'd actually started the thread. She was a Breeze champion, and she had got a group of women together who were all cycling quite happily, and then a trans woman joined, and it made all the other women, or some of the other women, feel really uncomfortable, and they stopped coming. And that's the whole idea of Breeze Rides, is to try and make it a comfortable place for women to cycle. And I just think it's really difficult that they're now putting pressure on us to allow trans people.
Nothing could be more male entitlement, could it, than them coming in every single damn tiny little space that we carve out for ourselves. Do you think would you say, if you join a women's cycling group, one of the motivations is the fact that it's just women?
Absolutely. And we absolutely love our group that's just women. It's, we talk about anything we want. We all feel really happy. To be honest, I don't think I'm going to get this problem because I'm living in a very rural area. But right. I just felt really frustrated by this. And the other thing was there might be some sort of re-education for us so that we don't think that a woman is a woman anymore. We think, we've got to think that a trans woman is a woman. So we might have to go on a re-education course. And I guess if we don't go on it, then we wouldn't be able to be Breeze champions anymore. One of the comments that followed the comments that I put on from one of the Breeze champion was that trans women are women. I didn't really get a chance to counter that because they turned off notifications.
I just don't even. I mean, who are any of these women to give away women's spaces or women's cycling clubs or women's anything? Who are these people that, what do you think, what do you think's wrong with them? Why do you think that some women do it?
I don't understand it. They think they're being all encompassing to everybody, but what they're giving, they're forgetting about the women that feel uncomfortable. They're putting them as second-class citizens, and they're giving priority to the minority.
Or to men. I mean, I would just go all out and say priority to men.
But what makes it so galling is that Breathe has been set up especially to encourage women into cycling because, well, for example, at the moment you've got Tour de France. Of course, it's completely male. They don't allow women in it at all, which is okay. It's a men's thing. But to sort of counteract that, they've started up Breathe to encourage women. And now this is being chipped away at. And it's just really frustrating. It's frustrating they turn off the comments as well. I mean, some people were being a bit abusive, and that was from the other side to what I was,
of course,
arguing. But I would have still liked to have made my comments. It's been great talking to you, Kelly. I've been listening to you for a few months now, and it's been really good to see that there were other people out there that are standing by their principles and sticking to their guns. And thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And I'm sure that your local group will be very, very grateful that in the fullness of time, when so many other people cave, that you won't have. But, you can always join maybe you could start a cycling for women group instead of standing for women. You could do a cycling for women group, and we would definitely support you. Maybe we'll do some proper woman, adult, human, female cycling jerseys or whatever they call them. I have no idea. Yeah. But thank you very much. Yeah, do. And best of luck. Stick to your guns, because it only takes... I
definitely won't go back on my guns. I can't stand that when you actually stick your head over the parapet and get it blasted off and then you go back and apologise. No, I wouldn't do that.
Well done. And thank you very much for calling.
Okay, thanks ever so much for what you're doing.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Do you know what? Sheila Jeffreys years ago was absolutely harassed and vilified by women for talking about men parasitically invading womanhood. And what she was talking about then was men who wear those rubber doll suits. And she sort of said that they parasitically wore women. These men parasitically invade every single women's group. That's what they do. Just ridiculous. Good evening. You are through to me, Kellie-Jay, at TERF Talk Tuesday. Hi, how are you? You can say who you are. You don't have to. You can just make a comment. It's up to you. Hi. Hello.
Hi, I'm Broken Silence on YouTube. I'm just saying that I absolutely support what you're saying, what you're about. And politically, over to the window, I'm an anarchist. I absolutely agree with what you're saying. Kind of want to say a little bit for blokes, because people who've been a bit bad in the past can change their ways, because I have. Absolutely can look a woman in the eyes again. Thought I'd just say that. It's worth saying, for men and for women. Okay. Thanks.
So you're an anarchist, did you say?
Hello?
Are you part of the anarchy movement? Because that's...
No. I'm not part of the movement.
Okay.
I'm an anarchist in the sense that I don't really adhere to left or right wing.
Right.
So I'm not an anarchist in the sense of I belong to any particular party or movement. But I have listened for quite a long time to your channel, and I totally agree with what you're saying. I totally understand your ethos, where you're coming from. There's some things that come to my mind about men too, in this conversation. Sometimes you've raised things about men, their behaviour sometimes. And I was one of those bad people years ago. and men can change themselves. If there's any men listening you think they can't change themselves, you can change your behaviour.
Well,
I want to get that out
much.
there too.
Good.
You know, I think that's important to know too, that you can change that. I know people think you can't be, as you can. And you've got loads of support, loads of people from all sorts of different political backgrounds. If you want to call it that, the Overton window, that keeps moving around, so let's forget that a bit. But you've got a lot of support from lots of people from all sorts of backgrounds, all sorts of histories, all sorts of pasts, you know. And it's good to hear you keep saying what you're saying, because I totally agree with you. Loads of other people too. There's men that feel so bad about themselves that can change themselves, you know, because they can, because I have. And they can, they will.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling.
And you keep doing what you're doing, because it's fantastic what you're doing. It's giving a lot of people a lot of hope.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening. Cheers. Okay, so what I've worked out is I now put you on Do Not Disturb, which means there's a gap. It's very bloody difficult running a live thing, let me tell you. Anyway, Billy Bragg, getting back to Billy Bragg, he, I've invited him. The invitation is there, Mr. Billy Bragg. If you would like to come on and defend your position, I am more than happy to listen to you and give you the floor, because you ain't gonna win. Hello, good evening. This is Kellie-Jay. You can say who you are. You don't have to. You can just speak.
Hi, Kellie-Jay. My name is Zan. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Wonderful. I'm calling from California, the lovely state that I used to love, which I don't love anymore because it's so effing woke.
Yeah.
Too woke for me. I'm a lesbian. I've been in the gay community for almost 40 years. I'm not young. And well, I don't participate in the community anymore because of the fact that women's spaces, women's groups, I tried to go to a women's group online. In fact, it was a coming out group, and I went only because I wanted to share that I was available locally for any woman that wanted to find out about sex-based rights.
Yeah.
As soon as I broached the subject, I was talking. I mentioned single-sex prisons. I was immediately asked to leave the session. There were two moderators, one other person in this online group, and I said, I've been in this community for so long. I'm a lesbian. And the woman said to me, and I quote, "Well, I'm sorry, but we prioritize our trans sisters and women of color." And I clicked off then, and I was livid. I'm indignant most of the time. And it's okay on some level because I don't go to those groups anyway. It's not something I need to do. But the fact that I was confronted with this shut up, close out, I can't deal with it.
It's
I
really
can't deal with it.
disturbing.
I'm always indignant, you know?
It's really disturbing. When did you American lesbians in particular, I think, have known about the creep of transgenderism. I know Leah Keith talks about how some of her sort of, back in the 90s, she was dealing with some women who were then transitioning and also men encroaching upon lesbian spaces. Has that been your experience as well, Diane?
Well, I'll tell you, actually in the 90s, I remember very clearly in the early 90s, I was in New York visiting a friend and we were reading some gay rag. I forgot what it was, Off Our Backs or something. And it was about, and this was really, could have been the early 90s. And this was about lesbians, older lesbians who were transitioning to men. This is before everything was, really, mainstream at all. And we were just thinking to ourselves, like, what the F?
Yeah.
And we realized that the part of that had to do with these women were primarily butch women. which is a culture unto itself. I mean, you know, you just can't ignore in the lesbian community that there is a culture of butch women. And we realized that, you know, this was like, it's sort of like this out of becoming old, going into menopause, because who wants to be an old lesbian? It's bad enough being an old woman, let alone being an old lesbian. So let's just, and we're thinking, you know, these women are just want to just basically escape the whole womanness at the level, you know, that when you go into menopause, you have to deal with certain things. So let's just get rid of this. Let's become men. And so we were, and you know, but it was under the table. And at the time, I was living in Germany, so I've not spent all of my life in the United States.
Right.
I spent most of it, but not all of it. I've lived in Germany and Italy, and so I have a lot of influence from those cultures.
Yeah.
But let me just say something also about in the 90s, because I was living in Germany. I was very involved with a women's center. There was primarily a lot of lesbians there, but not exclusively. And at the time, Germany had laws that protected women-only spaces. And in the 90s, again, I remember very clearly a transvestite, a man called Paula, was coming in, and a lot of women were not okay with it. It was a disco, and a lot of women were not okay with it because he was obviously a man dressed up.
Yeah.
And so we would have a community we would talk as a community. And at the time, I felt I wasn't on the side of keep him out. I was on the side of, at that time, we didn't even use the word inclusivity. In fact, I got to know Paula, who was an everyday school teacher during the day. And at night, I guess, dressed up as a woman, but he was a transvestite. And so, and there's a lot in between that from then until now with my story about, the whole queer and all of that stuff. Point is now it's gone too far.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't have a problem with Paula. Now it is too effing far. You know what I mean? And I refuse to bend. I've got my big sidewalk chalk, and I live in the gay part of town, and I am out there writing, adult woman, adult human, female, dykes don't have dicks, and people erase it. But
well, how apt. The erasure is upon you. What hope do you have for young women who, I don't know, when was it a good time to come out as a lesbian? I think the peak time was about 5 minutes, and it didn't last very long, and it was quite a while ago. But now I think coming out as a lesbian is almost meaningless, because you're supposed to accept men in your dating pool. What's the fear for young women, do you think, or do you have hope?
Oh, I don't know, I mean, I came out first as bisexual and then lesbian. I was in my early mid-20s, but I also had a pretty robust community around me that helped me make that transition.
Yeah.
I don't really know, I'm not a mother, and I'm not around mothers, so I don't have a lot of firsthand experience with young people. I have secondhand experience, and it's quite maddening and saddening, because a couple of younger people that I know, lesbians or something like that, or actually they call them non-binary, they've got mental health issues. Yeah. I mean, they're like in their late 20s, and they have like mental health issues. One of them takes 5 medications in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, just to function. And I mean, that's scary to me. I really feel of a completely different breed, I don't even think it's a generation, it's more than that. And I say really frankly, I'm glad I'm going to be dead sooner than later.
Well, I'm certainly glad to be nearly 50. I can tell you, I wouldn't want to be a teenager in 2022 for all the diamonds in Africa. I just can't think of anything worse. The gaslighting and the mass gaslighting and the cognitive dissonance that these kids are subjected to is just horrific. Yeah,
absolutely. I absolutely agree. And I feel for mothers. I'm very, I come from a privileged place. I don't work anymore. I have the time to do this, and I do it to keep myself safe because I'm pretty isolated where I actually live, but that's okay. The sun is always shining. And so, I'm doing what I can. And I have to just also say, which I didn't say at the beginning, is that your clarity and your commitment has really made a huge difference, because without the language, where are we? I stutter like everybody else about it, but I have the language, and it's by and large because of you. So thank you very much for doing that from across the pond.
You are very, very welcome, and thank you for calling. Best of luck. Cheers.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I might be able to take one more call. Delflick Maestro says, having no joy getting through to Kellie-Jay, would love 2 minutes to chat to KJK. Reality will win always. Thank you for your £5. It's Sam says, Kellie-Jay, you really need staff. I really do. I really need staff. I'm going to take this final call. Good evening. You are through to me, Kellie-Jay, and I'm just going to do something here, which means that call will stop. You can say who you are. You don't have to. It's entirely up to you.
Hey, I'm so excited to be talking to you. This is Amy Souza, and some people know me. Hey, I'm so excited that you're doing these TERF talks. They're so cool. I wanted to respond to something that you asked earlier, and you were talking about safeguarding. And I wanted to kind of re-bring up something that you had mentioned in one of your other videos. You had mentioned Gavin de Becker and his book, The Gift of Fear, and he has his other book, the Protecting the Gift of Fear, which is specifically about parents.
Right.
And I really wanted to just first reiterate that to everyone who is concerned for child safeguarding, that the tools, I think, to give kids and women as well to protect ourselves against this sort of massive agenda are these tools of trusting our intuition and our instincts and our sense perceptions that we have. And this is very old and very basic. This is the lesson of Little Red Riding Hood. That what big ears you have and what big eyes you have. It's the story of a girl who has to learn how to trust her instincts and her sense perceptions. And I think that honing in on our embodied awarenesses, these are the values that are antithetical to the values of this cult, which is dissociation and dismemberment and disembodiment. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of underline that, and I know you had mentioned it before, but I think it's always worth mentioning it again, because I think anyone who hasn't read those books, they're really they give a lot of tools for how to protect these skills.
That is a great point, but I can't have you on the phone without you telling everyone what you are doing in the US with your events and Speakers Corner events.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. We are very much inspired by our UK sisters and by you specifically, Kellie-Jay. We have seen what you've done, and I know that my good friend Jay Thomas, who she always says, just like the US suffragettes traveled to the UK to learn from the UK suffragettes, we have learned from our UK TERF sisters, and we are doing a whole bunch of women's free speech events based on Speakers Corner. So we've been having them with some regularity in the Midwest and in the East Coast. And what we're trying to do, because we are so massive, is I am hosting these events on my YouTube. So even if you don't have a massive account, you can connect with me and I can host these events for you. So these events, much like we've seen in the UK, these are the media that we create. You know, this is the public record of our descent. This is us telling our stories and speaking our truth, because, you know, really, except for, you know, very few people here like Tucker Carlson, our stories are simply not getting told. So us disseminating our own media is how our stories can be told. And because we're so vast, we can't simply meet up, you know, in a matter of 3 or 4 hours. But what we can do is host them on our platforms. So I've been working with Jennifer Thomas and also Thistle Pedersen of WLRN and Kellie-Jay Keen of FEMAX, and we've been putting these together. I know you have Pinwheel in the chat. Iris did one in South Carolina, but anyone can reach out to me, and if you get a group of, you know, even just, you know, 4 or 5 women together, I will host that on my platform, and we will have many, many more Speakers Corner events in the US.
Sounds amazing. Amy, tell everybody again what your YouTube channel is called.
And my YouTube is Known Heretic, which is the same as my Twitter, which anyone can DM me in my Twitter as well. My Twitter is open, and I'm on Facebook as well and Instagram, but Twitter is my main platform. And yeah, we are putting those are all of the ones that we've done so far are up on the Known Heretic YouTube channel.
Amazing. Thank you so much for calling. Lovely to talk to you.
Lovely speaking to you as well. Thank you so much. And bye.
Cheers. Bye. Okay, lovely people. That's me done. To Billy Bragg. You didn't call. I even asked my assistant to send you the number, so I believe you got that number. You didn't call me. I think you're a coward and a misogynist. And I don't think your position is defensible at all. If you think I'm wrong. What Billy Bragg did say is that I should debate what a woman is with a in his words, trans woman. And I said, well, according to me, he's no different to any man who calls himself a woman. They're all just men. Anyway, so that was Known Heretic. Thank you to everybody who was brave enough to call in this evening. It's always an absolute delight listening to you guys. That's why I do it. This will get better. Just bear with. This will get better. The only way I can stop people interrupting the calls is by putting a do not disturb. So, you know, look, we live and learn, all a little bit patient. I am absolutely boiling hot, sweltering in my office. Look, if we keep connecting, if we keep listening to each other, if we keep reaching out, asking for advice, asking for help, asking for support, if we make sure we listen well to the stories and the warnings that we've had this evening from people in education, in the NHS, from people across the pond, if we make sure that we remain a community of women that is not divided by the ridiculous notions of man-made divisions, then there's every chance we will win. I promise we will win. If we can make sure that we set aside the things that divide us and we do not let men control how we express ourselves, who we listen to, what arguments we make, then I promise we will win. If you women on the left acknowledge that when your loyalties is split between women and the left, that you are actually choosing men over women, then I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Genuinely, because I never lose.